Today is International Migrants Day. In 1990, the United Nations decided to honor migrants. Every 18th of December, a UN-related agency oversees the celebrations, but there is not really very much to celebrate. Everywhere you look, migrants are seen as a problem, not a cause for celebration. Tonight, we'll focus on Europe. Most European countries profess liberal democratic values and human rights, but in practice, they're scrambling in the opposite direction, trying to get rid of immigrants. The UK has its controversial Rwanda deportation plan. It has inspired Germany to do the same. Meanwhile, Italy has struck a deal with Albania to outsource immigrants. And their Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, is going viral. An old video of hers where she says Islam is not compatible with Europe. Here's a report.
We have seen this year, in terms of irregular migration, is record historic levels being superseded. For instance, in the Americas, 500,000 people have crossed through the Darien Gap in Colombia. We've seen highest number of deaths, for example, and missing migrants in the Mediterranean.
That bleak assessment was delivered by an official from the International Organization for Migration, the UN-related agency in charge of celebrating International Migrants Day. That's today. December 18th is supposed to be a day to celebrate the contribution of migrants to society. But increasingly, we hear alarm bells ringing when it comes to migration, specifically unregulated or illegal migration.
This year, already more than 36,000 irregular arrivals by sea to the Canary Islands. Out of those, more than 4,000, maybe 4,500 unaccompanied minors. This is a true challenge for these beautiful islands to deal with such a huge arrival that we have seen this year.
That's a sobering example of the problem that Europe is facing. Every year, hundreds of thousands try and migrate to Europe. Some do this to escape persecution back home. Others do it to try and make a better life for themselves. Thousands take to the Mediterranean Sea on ramshackle boats. Many lose their lives in the process. Whatever their reason, the migrants are entering Europe in an unregulated manner, and the continent is overwhelmed. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak believes there's something even more dangerous afoot.
Criminal gangs will find ever cheaper ways to ply their evil trade. They will exploit our humanity, and they think nothing of putting people's lives at risk when they put them in these boats at sea. And our enemies will also see that we are unable to deal with this, and then they will so increasingly use migration as a weapon, deliberately driving people to our shores to try to destabilize our societies.
That's a very alarming prediction, the weaponization of migrants. So, is Europe doing anything to prevent this? Some countries are trying to work out novel solutions. Sunak and his government want to deport migrants to Rwanda. It's a nation in Africa. The UK Parliament recently approved a bill that might put this plan in motion. It's not a done deal yet, but that's Sunak's plan of action. And this seems to have inspired a German political party as well. A leader from Germany's Christian Democrats party said that they might opt for this third country solution as well. This party is in the opposition in Germany. It could just be an election pitch, because it's easier said than done. There are UN refugee and human rights conventions which can stop this sort of plan. So for now, it's all theoretical. Italy is also trying something similar. It wants to send migrants to Albania. Albania was to host a few thousand migrants while their asylum applications got processed. But a few days ago, an Albanian court blocked the scheme. Over the weekend, the British and Albanian Prime Ministers went to Italy at the invitation of Italian PM Giorgia Meloni. They were going to sit down and discuss the migration issue, try and find a way forward. But that event was partly overshadowed by a different issue. An old video of Meloni resurfaced and went viral. In it, she's heard saying that Islam and Europe have a compatibility problem. Later, she says that she's talking about a certain interpretation of Islam, but her words are clearly directed at the so-called other, the outsider, the migrant. And as things stand, Europe still has no solution to the migrant crisis. Whatever the religion or country of origin, Europe says it does not want any more migrants.
So we expect to see a continued upward trend in regular migration because of labor shortages in the so-called global north and youthful populations in the global south.
If Europe continues to grey, it will keep getting migrants. There will be a shortage of workers. People will migrate to fill those labor shortages. It's simple demand and supply. Changing that demographic shortfall is perhaps the only long-term solution to Europe's immigration problem. Till they address that, they will not be able to stop the boats. And all the Rwanda or Albania plans won't amount to much more than failed campaign promises.